Hey everybody, wanted to go through 3 or 4 quick stories, depending on how much time I have just from this week, show you how this information can get applied. So obviously when I meet with people, I meet with them for about a half an hour, so I'm going to try to abbreviate these stories as much as possible, but if you pay attention, you're going to see how much this stuff will relate directly to you. First story, met with somebody about 4 months ago, went through his 23andMe test, went through the polymorphisms, 5 supplements were recommended, and they were critical based on his lifestyle and his polymorphisms. Reached out to me about a week and a half ago, wanted to meet with me again, and as you can expect, the first thing I asked him to do is to revisit the email that I detailed after we met, which had a bunch of things in there other than supplements. I said, please tell me what you've been doing, what you've not been doing, and he was just very straightforward and said, I really haven't been doing much of any of it. So when I met with him again, he sort of went through everything that was going on, his job, his stress, not sleeping, binge eating, all these things. So to put this into the context of just the things that we've talked about so far, first of all, obviously just swallowing pills in the morning that are really important for your body type and your polymorphisms are critical. We're talking about, with him, we were talking about D3, vitamin A, fish oils, magnesium, and 1 or 2 others. And those are, we're talking about thousands of metabolic functions, dealing with both how you feel, digestion, immune system, the whole thing. That's just the easiest thing in the world to do, is to swallow some pills. But other things, this is somebody that was experimenting with intermittent fasting, and I've been very clear with you guys, I think in the past, that fasting is not for everybody. There are certain polymorphisms or people that definitely shouldn't fast. But more importantly, regardless of your polymorphisms, if you don't eat a healthy diet, I don't care who you are, intermittent fasting is not a good idea. Intermittent fasting is for healthy people, not for unhealthy people. It's for people who are exercising, who eat healthy diets, who supplement correctly, who are sleeping correctly. These are people that can get away with intermittent fasting. Why? Because most people have problems with their blood sugar. And this is an example of somebody who has a clear problem with his blood sugar. And when you have a problem with your blood sugar, you also probably have low dopamine problems. When you're running on a low dopamine personality and you are hypoglycemic, meaning you have more of an ADHD personality, you can be very short and quick-tempered and things of this nature. It's a very good idea that you are eating more often than fasting. So keeping the blood sugar very even throughout the day, and that's part of what I talked to him about. Talked about a bunch of other things, but just to give you an example, yes, taking your supplements are important, but also understanding how these strategies are implemented. Just because you hear the word intermittent fasting, you have to hear all the details, everybody. You have to hear the details in which we are introducing certain strategies. Remember, intermittent fasting is not introduced until week 6 of the UTC for a reason, and it is precisely this reason, because intermittent fasting is for healthy people. There were like I said, a bunch of other things we talked about, but let's just move on to the second person. Second person talked about today was actually talking about her mother, who has 87 years old, has a heart issue. I have no idea precisely how bad this is, but at the end of the day, the underlying cause has to do with high blood pressure over time. But there was just other things that got brought up in this conversation that were just interesting. What other meds is your mom on? What is she doing? And part of what got brought up here was, high blood pressure and the fact that she's not eating salt. Now, again, please check your UTC manual in the very first few pages where it says, please use real salt. And it says, please use real salt really. And the reason why is because if you're still under the impression that blood pressure is raised because of salt intake, you are mistaken. Please find me the longitudinal peer-reviewed research that says so. But anybody can send it to me. I'll be waiting a long time because it will not be forthcoming. We're talking about a blood pressure raised systolic and diastolic of about a point if you happen to be raised at all. Everybody, it is not the salt. In fact, if you're not eating iodized salt, meaning the iodine that is absolutely necessary for good, very good thyroid function, you're doing yourself a disservice. And guess what? This woman who's 87 years old also is on thyroid medication. What a shocker! Where else are you getting your iodine from? Because she's certainly not eating iodized rich foods. So there are other food. I use this as well. This is an excellent seasoning that has a lot of iodine in it. But guys, I salt almost everything with real salt or the iodized salt. We also talked a little bit about magnesium and again, there's only 2 supplements that I pound my feet about, and it's D3 with K2 and magnesium. Now, one of the questions she asked was, but she gets loose stool from magnesium. Well, everybody, if you're taking magnesium oxide, you're not paying attention to the details. I have been very specific about making sure that your magnesium ends in an ATE, okay? Glycinate, citrate, malate. This person in particular, if you're somebody who happens to get loose stool from magnesium, take magnesium glycinate. It's bound to a glycine molecule. So glycine is just an amino acid. By the way, the reason why I tell people to take magnesium glycinate at night is because it can also help you sleep. And if you find that that's the case, people with insomnia, you can take much as 3 grams of extra glycine, which is just a separate supplement. But the reason why magnesium glycinate is called, it has its name, is because it's bound to a glycine molecule. So again, it has been shown to help in insomnia cases, is that extra glycine. There's a bunch of other stuff we've talked about in sleep seminars. But also, as far as heart health, you got to remember there's a lot of magnesium required. The heart requires a lot of magnesium, especially the left ventricle. So, again, guys, details. Last person talked today. Got an email about some heart stuff, not heart stuff, blood level stuff. So HDL, VLDL. So his triglycerides are good. His LDL is high, but his HDL is also really good. His VLDL was high, though, so I had to ask him a bunch of other questions, and one of the things that he pointed out was that his PSA levels were high, and they require further testing and things like that. Everybody, I ask you to scroll down in the newsletter, and look at me recommending that you grind up broccoli sprout seeds. Broccoli sprout seeds, these babies right here, okay? You can just buy them in bulk, along with mustard seeds, okay? Which I pulverize in my pulverizer and again put on almost everything, along with my iodized salt. Why these 2? Okay, well, sulforaphane and myrostanase these 2 things are going to help your PSA levels tremendously, along with this thing that you may have heard about me talk about in the past many times called curcumin. So if you're taking your Curafin along with your broccoli sprout seeds, please check your PSA levels again in about a month and tell me what they're doing. All right, everybody, just applying the knowledge, just taking it and applying it in easy ways. It's just sometimes it's a matter of putting some seasoning on your foods, swallowing some supplements. We're not asking you to scale Mount Everest here. Basic stuff, so for you to be healthier and stronger version of you. All right, everybody, we will do a video seminar on Sunday. I will send it out. I'm going to do some prerequisite stuff for stomach acid. This is a huge topic. All right, you're going to see how much everything we've been talking about is going to lead up to, believe it or not, this stomach acid seminar that we're going to do next week live. But on Sunday, I will put out a short video to get you ready for next Sunday's live seminar. All right. Have a good one.